Okay. Ugh. Alright, here we go. So, hello. Uh, I don't really, I don't really know how to introduce myself, except that for the last few months, I've been trying to record videos. Um, I've been trying to record like these kind of talking videos, because I've always wanted to, but I've never uploaded them because I've never really liked the topics and I don't really quite know what to talk about. Uh, I feel like cutting. Should I cut this? Should I do this cut or should I do this one shot? I feel like it'd be more honest if I just did everything like one shot. Or I'm just gonna one shot this. So I need this brief introduction just to segue, intro, blah blah blah, whatever I'm doing. So basically, I've been trying to do like vlogging kind of videos, but haven't really gotten into it because I couldn't find topics that were motivating and authentic enough to talk about, right? So today I actually suddenly got an idea that I think is actually quite interesting. So right now, I've got pulled up this webpage from positivepsychologyprogram.com, and a list of it is a list of 70 self-reflective questions to ask yourself, and these are wait, hang on. Oh wait, yes, 70 self-reflective questions, and they start with 10 just to get you to reflect on your life to make sure you're doing your life properly, whatever. But the following 30 questions are actually what I'm interested in. So what I'm gonna do is throughout the course of ooh, 30 days, 30. Okay, perfect. So for the next 30-ish days, I'm gonna answer one question from this list every day, as honestly and as authentically and as entertaining, well, not as entertaining, but just as authentically and spontaneously and honestly as I can. I'm just gonna see where that takes me. um yeah. I don't know what to say about that. What gave me that? I guess I could explain. I can explain. I can explain what gave me this idea. So, um, recently I actually created a video kind of similar to this question and similar to a question and answer format for a personality typing kind of service, right? So there's this YouTube channel called like INFP INTJ Coffee, and they have a personality type of service where you you can you can request, they type you personality. I do that thing way too fucking much. I need to stop, it's gonna get annoying. So basically, they type people's personalities, people's MBTI personalities, based on their mannerisms and how they talk and how they move and how their eyes moves, right? And in order to get you talking in a natural and authentic way, and to see how you act when you're thinking, right? They send you a list of about 5 questions that you answer on video, and then you send back to them the recording of yourself, and then they analyze this video of you, to figure out what type you are based on how you act when you're authentically in the moment when you're thinking, stuff like that. And I found that as I was answering those questions, I was actually having a lot of fun. Like I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun answering those questions. Oh, okay, don't get distracted. It was a lot of fun answering those questions, and so that gave me the idea that maybe for my video thing, that's where I should start. Maybe I should just start by answering generic, fun, get to know you stuff kind of questions, reflective questions, because these are kind of things that anyone can answer, right? I'm not gonna keep justifying this. It's gonna get on. It's gonna get on with it pretty soon. Okay, so I cut that introduction just so I can get a little bit of a breather and get started on the first question. So I read through the list, I skimmed through it briefly. Some questions are really hard to answer, and some are easier. And I think because some of them are gonna be hard no matter what, I don't want to pick and choose. I think I'm just gonna go in order and cause and just let it happen, because like there are some of these questions that I wish I could answer like in like 20 more days after I've had like more time to like actually do the thing that answer the question well would require, but at the same time, not being able to answer the question in a really in a way that makes myself feel proud, I guess. Not being able to answer all of the questions in a way that sounds good, in a way does keep it kind of real, you know? Because we're not always in a part of our lives where we're like super, super proud of where we are and what we're doing. That's just part of life. So because I want to keep it really fucking real, I'm just gonna answer it top to bottom, no matter how difficult it is, top to bottom in order. So number one question is, who am I really? Who am I really? I fucking hate questions like this, and I really want to skip this one because it's just such a huge topic. I probably should put like a time limit on each of these videos, like 15 minutes, I guess. 15 might be a bit long, but okay, whatever. Okay, time is ticking, I gotta go. Who am I really? Whew, like, where do you start? Where do you start? Do I start with my childhood, like where I was raised, how I grew up, what I believe in politically, philosophically? And how do you even define who am I really? That is like this could become a hell of a philosophical video right here. Because what constitutes our identity, right? Because we are, oh my god, this question, I'm gonna regret this. Okay, I'm gonna regret not cutting this. Okay. Who am I? Who am I really? This is a question that I've actually struggled with a lot. It's something that I've actually struggled with severely until recently. I remember 1 year ago, um, over 1 year ago actually, a year and a half ago, I was in Chicago and I was hanging out with a bunch of artist types. Like they were artists, free spirits, right? They made artwork, they painted, they did whatever, like not no 9 to 5 kind of job. They had a vision and they pursued it. So like that kind of personality, the kind of personality who's really gotta fucking know who they are, right? So I was hanging out with a bunch of these artists, and one of them, I was talk. One of them was asking me what I was doing, and I told him I had just graduated, and I'm kind of like trying to get into the art world, as in, I wanted to work for a gallery as a gallery assistant, event planner, somewhat kind of thing. And the conversation went into, I think he asked me what kind of art I would like to make, and it got me kind of stumped. I didn't really know at that point, because I didn't really know what my thesis was, like what my life thesis, because I feel like to be an artist, everything, all of your work reflects a central, more or less a central life thesis, right? um and so that's what he was asking me. He was asking me if I was to design an exhibition, for example, what kind of things would I feature? And I honestly, I was kind of stumped. And from that, we started talking about how and where you get inspiration. And eventually it got to the point where he told me that you just have to be yourself. You just got to do things that you feel and that you believe in. You got to follow your own vision. You got to be true to yourself, and it's got to be yourself, and everything will work out. Just be yourself. And a lot of people give this advice, and on the surface, I nod and I agree, but I actually don't get it at all. Because when he told me be myself, I actually didn't really know what that meant. Like, I didn't know what it meant to be myself, because up until that point, who I was, I defined who I was by how I acted. And how I acted depends very, very heavily on the type of people that I'm interacting with. And this was a story of my life, story of my childhood. I was the kind of kid who grew up thinking that the only way to fit in was to fit in, right? Was to make yourself accommodate and blend in and get along with the people around you. And so I never really developed a strong sense of identity. Whoever I was really dictated by whoever I was surrounded by. Um, and I kept I never really, I mean, I did question it, but I never really went out and tried to just find myself because I didn't really ever have a good reason to have to do that in a very concrete way, you know? Because for most of your life you can just get along and coast by without really knowing who you are, and you'll be all right because you'll get along with people. So if you get along with people, then you're not really questioning how you're interfacing with them, and so you just blah, 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 blah. Whoa, where am I going with this? This is gonna be so long if I don't cut it. Okay, but let's keep it real, let's keep it real, let's keep it honest, even if honesty means rambling. Okay, all right. So yeah, he told me be yourself. That was the moment, I think, that triggered me into thinking, who am I really? Which is the question that this is asking right now. Who am I really? And I actually felt really annoyed at first because at that time I thought that, what the fuck do you mean be yourself? That's so vague. Like, how, when is anyone ever themselves, right? Because we always act differently in different settings. And even if we don't define ourselves simply by our behavior, even if we define ourselves by our beliefs, well, our beliefs are constantly shifting and growing as we develop and learn more as people, right? We learn new perspectives, we gain new facts, we change our minds. So even our beliefs are constantly shifting. And so we can't really define ourselves by an unchanging set of beliefs, even. And so because of this, I didn't really believe that anyone could really be themselves. Um, Give me a second to think. This is how I think. I fall back. I fall backwards, and that is how I think. And so that was me at that time, and how should I explain? Oh my god! I wish I planned this. This could be really really good if I planned this properly. Oh, let me think. Let me think. Let me think. Okay. All right. So I won't cut anything out, but I might pause in like the middle just to fucking think and collect my thoughts. Okay. And so, if you ask me a year and a half ago, who am I really? I would probably still be a little bit annoyed at you because I wouldn't really think that. I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think that anyone would be able to answer that question authentically because I honestly did not believe that anyone could really be themselves because I didn't believe that a stable sense of self existed because we're all how we act is dictated by our environment and our beliefs are always changing as time goes on. But over time, over the last year, I've actually come to change my mind. And that is because I went through a period of completely losing myself. Like before, I didn't know who I am, but like I didn't know who I was a year and a half ago, but like over the last year, some shit happened where it got me to the point where I felt like I was like not only was I intellectually uncertain about who I am, but I felt emotionally like I was not acting in integrity with who I am, and I had lost myself. Um, I don't know how much detail I should go into that because it gets into some personal drama. Um, Maybe I'll go into that like in more detail later. Not now. What the fuck? I don't like how this is turning out. But basically, now, if you ask me who am I really, I don't think I will be able to describe it in words yet just because I haven't had enough time to really intellectualize and like put into words who I am. I haven't created a narrative for myself that I can just give people as an elevator pitch. I don't have that. But emotionally, I do feel like I am a person, and the person that I am now, that I feel emotionally, it doesn't change as much anymore based depending on who I am. Like if I'm with different groups of people, I don't I don't lose myself as much as I did before. And this is because after completely losing myself in an unhealthy relationship the last year, um, I promised that I would never ever do that to myself again because it got really dark. I mean, like, not like super super dark. It just got really depressing. Um, oh boy, am I gonna go into that heavy shit in this video? Okay, let me pause just to get a little breather so I can like collect my thoughts a little bit. Okay, I'm back. So, first, I just watched through the first two parts of this video that I recorded, and little correction, the artist thing, that was not 1.5 years ago. That was more like 2 years ago, because it was fall. Yeah, right. So 2 years ago, not 1.5 years ago. But anyways, continuing on the point that I was making, um, the reason that now I have a more um stable emotional self. Like I can actually feel myself now. I can't describe myself, but I can actually feel myself now, right? The reason I have that now is because um the extremely depressing experience of being completely lost and empty um after losing myself in a codependent relationship, after the darkness of completely losing sight of who I am, I allowed myself to become a lot more selfish in that before I would say or do anything, I would ask myself, I would ask myself, like, how do I feel about this? Do I really want to smile right now? Do I really want to talk right now? Do I feel pissed off? And if I felt pissed off, I gave myself permission to express that. And strange as it sounds, even though sometimes right now the person that I am now might be a less a less pleasant person than I used to be. Thinking. Okay. Okay. Who am I? Who am I now, really? I think who we are is how we feel, right? I don't think it's how we act. I don't think it's necessarily what we believe in, but it's how we feel. So who I am is how I feel right now. It's my genuine, authentic reaction to the things that people say to me, the things that I see in the world, the things that I learn, the things that I look at, like, and then my reaction to that. That's who I am, and I think that's now my definition of who I am. Um, and part of the way that I arrived at this was uh a little bit embarrassing to admit. So I was watching Teal Swan videos. I know a lot of people are against her because allegedly she has a little cult thing going on. But like, putting the cult thing aside, but regardless of whether or not it happened, she makes a really good point in that I think she made a point that you should honor your feelings, right? If you feel something, you shouldn't judge it. You shouldn't say that it's wrong. You shouldn't say that I should not feel this way because I should act in another way because people expect me to act another way. You shouldn't do that. You should validate your feelings. And I think if you consistently validate your feelings, then you're going to allow them to exist. And if you allow them to exist, they're going to stay present. And if they stay present, well, then there you go. That's going to be your stable sense of self, your pool of emotions that's just stable right there. And yes, I know this is not super, super coherent because it's right off the top of my head and I haven't found like a really perfect description analogy. I haven't like logically processed this. I might come back to this topic in the future just so I can explain it better, but for now I'm just gonna run with this. And I think the reason that I feel a stable sense of self now is precisely because I've honored my emotions and my feelings, and I've allowed myself to experience all of the feelings, the positives, negatives, not judging them, not pushing them away, not shaming them, just letting them happen. And I allow myself to act on these feelings too, even if I think that maybe they're not always appropriate. And through this process, I've actually found myself, kind of, I guess. It's weird. Um, so I still can't describe myself, but um, I definitely believe that a sense of self exists. And I think the only instance in which it doesn't exist is if you've grown up and you've gotten used to a pattern of constantly questioning and doubting and judging your own feelings and suppressing them, pushing them away, trying to change them. If you do that constantly, of course you're not going to have a stable sense of self, because you're constantly changing what you are in order to fit into like what you think you should be, right? And how should I say? Have I even really answered the question? I think like I've just taken the question and I've gone on like 5 different tangents and just explained a little tiny bit of my life story. Okay, so honoring your feelings and acting in accordance with your own feelings, that's something that to a lot of people it might sound like a really silly thing to say because it's so obvious, right? Like, yeah, of course you should validate your own feelings. Like, it's so cliche that as I'm saying it right now, I can actually picture a self-help video, like a stereotypical self-help video that's like, honor your own feelings, right? But honoring your own feelings, it's one of those things that you don't really get it until you really get it. Like, you can hear it, but you don't understand it until you're really fucking doing it. Especially if you've grown up not doing it. Because I think for a lot of us, we walk around thinking we're honoring ourselves, but maybe we've just gotten so used to questioning our own feelings and changing them into what we think they should be. We've gotten so used to that we don't even think that's what we're doing. Like, we think we're honoring our feelings. We think that, oh yeah, of course I'm honoring my feelings. Like, I'm feeling things and I'm like, right? But you really, or like, if you're anything like me, you have to get to that breaking point of abandoning your own feelings and shoving them down so far down that you actually get depressed. Like, you actually have to hit that point before you start questioning. Yeah, okay, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? Okay, well, thinking that I'm thinking that I'm feeling these things and I don't like that I'm feeling these things. And then at that moment you realize, oh, I don't like that I'm feeling these things. That means that I'm not allowing my feelings to just be. Man, this is one of those things that you really gotta experience to know what it means. Like, but and for some people it comes naturally. They've never really questioned themselves. They've never even thought about suppressing themselves. Whether that's because of a personality that's just like that's dense to outside influence, or an upbringing from childhood where your parents never and the people around you never really rejected you for being yourself. If you grew up like that, then maybe, yeah, you've always been living authentically. But for a lot of people who've had to change themselves just to get accepted, it becomes a bad habit. And it becomes such an ingrained habit that you don't even realize that you're doing something that's super, super counterintuitive. Like, you're so used to doing something the wrong way that you don't even think it's wrong anymore. That's the point that it gets to. So, oh my god. Who, this fucking video. Okay, I think I'm gonna end it pretty soon because the longer I try to explain it, the more confusing it's just gonna be. I think I'm just gonna end it at, I think who we are, how we answer that question. Okay, I think one of the biggest problems I have with questions that ask, who are you? Who am I? Is that there's this instinctive pull to answer it by listing nouns and adjectives. Like when people ask you who you are, you kind of want to say, for example, I'm a skateboarder, I'm a student, I'm Chinese, I'm multicultural, I like anime, I like psychology, my favorite color, I believe in this, I am a liberal, I'm a conservative. We tend to want to answer the question and define ourselves by nouns. And I actually think that might be one reason why, if you expect to define yourself by nouns, it might be really hard to actually define yourself at all. If you're the kind of person who can identify with a whole bunch of fucking nouns just because you're in a bunch of different cultures, you've experienced a bunch of fucking things, you can see different sides of every political spectrum, so you don't really want to identify with any single side, and your opinions can change because you want to stay open-minded, whatever. So you don't, like, I feel like defining by nouns is a very misleading way, and it's a very misleading way to ask certain types of people to define themselves. I think from now on, how I would approach this when someone asks who I am is, I wouldn't know what to say to them, because if I had to give the answer, I have to give them like a few nouns, right? Or I can just describe this whole fucking process, this 20-minute rambling shit. I don't think they'd like that. But I think who we are is our feelings, and that's true no matter what, because no matter what you believe in, no matter how old you get, no matter what culture you are, no matter how many cultures you belong in, you're always gonna have feelings. And so your feelings are the things that's always constant. Like the actual feeling itself, like anger, happiness, that specific level, that might never be constant. But the fact that you have a set of feelings that is you, and that belongs to you, and that you authentically interface with the world with, that's always going to be true. And because that's always going to be true, I think that's the closest definition to a stable sense of self that we can come to without oversimplifying people with nouns, with nouns and adjectives. So, yep, I just answered this question by redefining the premise of the question, I suppose. And I think this is where I'm going to end it. Yep. Okay. Good night. Signing out.